Hi, I'm Stuart and welcome to SIRENNET Television. We're going to be taking a look at a freeway. Actually, it's not a freeway, but it is in the UK. It's called the M7 from Whelen Engineering, and it's a Lighthead. So big hi to all the gang over in Woodway in the UK. But Chris, our intrepid screwdriver driver kind of guy, is going to be taking apart this Whelen product. And let's swing over to Chris in studio far end.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Stuart. Couldn't have said it better. The Whelen M7R, if you're curious as to what this exact version is here, part of the M series family. So it's got the M2, the M4, the little brothers, and if you want to go with a bigger footprint, there's the M9. So to kind of match the previous generation, 400 series, 6s, 7s, and 9s, the M is in addition to it. Also a trick feature, if you're looking to add M's in place of old halogen or strobe heads, there's conversion flanges available for all of them. So you can take the new footprint, put it over the old rectangular, this will mount onto the conversion, and then you'll have M series in place of your previous lighting system. So well thought out by Whelen there. But that's really not what we're talking about. As usual, the funness, we're gonna crack it open, get into the goodies. On the back of the Lighthead, you have a protective seal gasket, foamed on this side, adhesive on this, so when you do it on your application, on the hard mount end after you have it all wired up, this would go on the body panel, the head would then mount onto it. So it's an additional way to protect the body under it, be it the nice chrome finish or the paint. Also just gives you another layer of protection from water or grime getting into the back of the Lighthead. There's also a heavy duty incorporated gasket, same perimeter size as the Lighthead. Again, mounts onto the body, so just gives it a little spacing and then gives it a nice flat mount. So again, it's over the diamond plate, over the paint finish. The back of the Lighthead, it's a one-piece aluminum heat sink and also rear mount portion. Center exit for the wiring. Yellow Gore-Tex breather, so it allows airflow in the Lighthead. So no worries, it's supposed to be there. It's not some secret mark or covering a hole that is in the housing that somebody tried to poorly cover up. It's covering a hole intentionally there. It's part of the functionality of the Lighthead and keeping it going for as long as it will, which pretty much as long as you're gonna have the rig and then some. Wonderful thing with LEDs. Screwed together on the back, so we'll go ahead, get the little Phillips out of the way. So with the outer 6 screws removed, I can now loosen the lens from the electronic portion of the lighting here. Unlike some of the other Lightheads, the lens is fused together into a one-piece unit. Originally it was 2 pieces, so you had the lens here and then the backing, but when they manufacture it, it's pressed together so you have a nice, clean, one-piece reflector. Inside, you have optics, help fill the Lighthead, so you have left, right, up, down, fill. Also incorporated, you can't really see it here, I wish I could take this apart, but with it being fused together, a little tough to do. It has a high polished reflector, and inside you can see there's 2 levels of diodes. Now with the 2 rows, yeah, I said 2 rows, unlike the previous Lightheads that we've taken apart, so 400 series, 6s and 7s, where it is a linear Lighthead, but you only have 1 row of diodes centered in the reflector. What's great with the M series is you have 2 rows, so you do have a higher diode count, and the M series does have a bit more potency to it. So it's intense head-on and also off-axis wise with the curved lens, you can see there in the close-up. And also inside, it has the classic Whelen linear diffusers, so it boosts the Lighthead intensity, so you're getting a more intense fill. But don't get me wrong, this previous generation still great and powerful. They work very, very, very well, It's just with the M series, the design is a little different, a little more updated, so your lighting's a little bit more aggressive for you in how it outputs. But really enough about the plastic optic lens here. The electronic board, 2 rows of diodes. You can see it's very well put together. It has a surround gasket here that can be removed, so that helps to seal this into the back here. You can see the diode board is actually also affixed to the aluminum extrusion via 2 screws. So if I wanted, these can come out, and then the electronic assembly with the diodes can be completely removed from the aluminum backing heatsink. Total of diodes is a bit higher than other light heads. The M7 has more than the M4, but the M9 is going to have more than the M7. That's just part of the fun of bigger light heads, smaller light heads. What's really trick with the 2 rows of diodes is you can do more separation in flash patterns. So previous light heads, just one big burst of light. With the M series, particularly the M7, you can go top to bottom, left to right, and you can also create flash patterns that are an X within the light head. So for NFPA requirements or just very, very trick attention-grabbing flashing, the M series can do an awful lot for you. But in addition to that, it also offers the sync. So for grill mounts, rear mounts, side of the body application, you can tie it all together so everything will go simultaneous or everything will alternate based on how you want to wire it up and set your phasing. So really nice, really trick function there. Good, show you the wiring harness on the back here. We'll have the camera zoom in a little bit before I put this back together to give you a last bit of an inside view at the electronics here and also the diodes and the way everything's done as far as the soldering and the epoxy that Whelen Engineering does in their process. Take the lens portion, realign it here, make sure the edge gasket is nice and in place. And you can see with the edges here, there's a bit of a tooth, so for lining this back up with the screw holes, very easy to do. Anytime you need to take it apart, put it back together, there's nothing that's going to move or get off kilter, so it would remount odd on the application. Goes back together perfect every time. On the screws here, before I put them back in, you'll notice that there's a little bit of a green epoxy. It's done intentionally by Whelen, and what it does is it helps the top of the screw fit into the bevel mount here and keep it watertight. So grime, condensation can't potentially get into the holes here. So really well thought out. Go ahead, get these tightened back in. So with the screws retightened, Lighthead is now back to one-piece assembly. On the harness here, you have a total of 5 trigger wires. Conventional lead, conventional ground. Now this is a 12-volt version, but if you're working with equipment that's a bit higher in the voltage range, say 24 volt, you can get the M series to fit that application. So really nice there. Gray sync wire, white with violet, the scan lock for pattern adjustment. And then you also have a violet trigger. So Lighthead here being so intense, if you want to tone it down for nighttime application use, high-low function will drop the intensity when you apply a positive 12 volts to it. So with that, go ahead, put power to the harness so you can see what I'm talking about. So you can see very, very nice, very, very potent. Move the head around a little bit here so you can see the off access that it offers. And with the potency, like I mentioned, high-low function, so take the violet, apply it to a positive 12-volt source, reduces the intensity. Take it away, turns the intensity back up. So drop it down, boost it up. So really nice. If you're wanting to adjust the flash pattern, scan lock here, momentarily tap it to a 12-volt, and it advances the pattern. So this is taken, put it into phase 2 of the pattern mode it was previously on. You can see it's now kicked to the next mode. So like I mentioned previously, having multiple rows of diodes and the splits, you can do really trick patterns. So like you can see here, it's going side to side. And what's interesting is it's not a complete even spread. So it's not centered right down the middle of the lighthead. You can see it's a little off on the top to match a little off on the bottom. So actually at distance, it gives a really nice split to a pattern like this. Go through a few more modes here for you. You can see with a little bit of hesitation, phase 2 of that same pattern. And I'm just going to go through a few more here. And then you can also see it does in-out splitting. So really trick. And if you're wanting to have a vehicle that's unique in its flash patterns, you can have whole flashing in the front of the rig, splitting down the side, and on the rear, you can go in, outs, make X's, top and bottom split. So there's a lot of choices completely adjustable to your preference with the scan lock wire here. Available in different colors. You can do splits, you can do solids, you can do them in scene lights as well, and if you'd prefer, clear lenses as well to go with a nice, clean, clear lensed application. I'm going to go ahead, take this away so I can just stop blinding out the camera crew. I feel bad for them some mornings, but it's a nice thing about being on this side. I can see fine, they're seeing red spots. Go ahead, spin it around, gasket, put the harness back through the center here. Surface mount as well. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the inside view of the M7. Thanks for spending time with me here on SIRENNET Television. Back to you, Stuart.
Well, back to you, Chris. That confuses the crap out of the camera crew. I'm Stuart, and as always, many thanks for watching SIRENNET Television.